Raise your hand if you have ever felt personally victimized by your Instagram feed. Because when was the last time comparing ourselves to other artists actually led to success? Is this uneven? What if the secret wasn't actually to stop comparing ourselves, but to just shift our consciousness into something called the second circle? When I was in college, my friend Reggie introduced me to a book by a acting professional named Patsy Rodenberg called The Second Circle. And it really made me think, what circle am I living in? What circle is everybody around me living in? What circle are we all living in? This is the basis of what she centers her book around, the theory of consciousness, and specifically, I have to sneeze. Specifically, it talks about the consciousness when it comes to acting and performing. We've all seen actors who are overacting to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, please stop. I don't believe a word you're saying. And we've also probably seen actors who are underacting where we can't hear them and we're like, what are you saying? We're straining to understand and straining to feel what they're feeling. The magic of the circle theory is that it applies to acting, performing, but it can also apply to literally any type of creative ever. Circle theory is a state of mind and body where confident, relaxed control allows us to establish intimacy and human connection when and where we want it. In a very condensed version, it's being present. Patsy Rodenberg talks about how there's basically 3 circles of consciousness. There's the first circle, the second circle, and the third circle. There's a reason for every single type of circle, but there are times when we are using third circle when we should actually be using second, or first circle when we should be using second. The majority of the time when we're in our artistic practice, when we're interacting with others, it makes sense to be in the second circle, present. But let's talk about the 3 ones. The first circle is when you're kind of focused on yourself, you're inward. This is like when you're at home and you're cleaning, or when you're studying, and there's really, you feel like you're zeroed in, no awareness of anything outside of that. You're not focused on really anything around you. It's kind of like you're hiding your presence away inside of you. This is all from her book. There's a benefit to this. When you're really focused in life, when you're working on a project, maybe you've been working for a really long time and you need that hyper fixation and hyper focus, that can be really helpful. But when you're doing things like interacting with other people or performing, it's kind of like when you're talking to someone and you can't hear what they're saying and you feel like their consciousness is falling short of you. That's first circle. Third circle is when you feel like you're talking to someone and they're saying the right words and they're nodding at the right times, but you don't feel like they're really there. The best example for me is those big Shakespearean actors who are like, hello! And you feel like they're talking to no one, but they're trying to be really big. There are times that third circle can be really helpful when you're yelling across a room and trying to get someone's attention. You have to have this sort of generalized energy because you're like, I don't know where you are, but I need to find you. But when it comes to, again, like interacting with other people, being in your creative process, it can almost feel like you're trying to shoot at 100 different things and you don't quite know where you're going, and it's all very generalized. When you consider like bad performers, bad actors, or maybe even just people who aren't present, they're probably either in the third circle, they're like, how are you? And you're like, I don't think they actually want to know how I am. Or first circle where they're hello, and you know that they might not want to be here, someone told them to be here, or something like that. There's a reason for both of these, but when it comes to interacting with other people, being present, usually that is not the ideal circle to be in. And that's where we get to the second circle. This is when your focus and your presence is completely matching the other person. I studied under the Esper technique, which is underneath the Meisner technique, which is all about you're placing your attention outside of yourself. So think about when you're talking to somebody else. When somebody has their attention on them, they're like a little bit third circle. They're like, yeah, You see that they're kind of like, I need to look good. I need to look like I'm nodding. I need to look like I'm smiling. But when you're talking to someone who's second circle, they're genuinely just fascinated by what you're saying. They're like looking into your eyes, not thinking about themselves at all. They're placing their attention on you. They're fully present. This is a circle where you're actually getting a true connection with someone. This is when someone asks, how are you? They actually want to know how I am. And they're gonna fully listen when I tell them if I'm not doing well or if I'm doing awesome. When we go to the first and third circle, these are phases when we're often comparing ourselves to the past or comparing ourselves to the future. There's like some sort of anxiety, or we're just like super focused on something and we're not necessarily in the zone. third and first circle, I think they're only really supposed to be used for a very short amount of time. If you're trying to read a new language, maybe you have to be in first circle just for a little bit and you're just like, I need no distractions. That's like me when I'm doing math. I'm like, I don't need anyone. I need you to not talk. I need you to not breathe. I don't need noises. I need to do this math, and I'm always doing it on my fingers because I suck at math. When it comes to third circle, like if we're trying to find someone, we need to have this generalized, you know, where are you? Where are you? But the goal is always to kind of get rooted into second circle. So going back to comparing ourselves to other artists, when we think about, oh my gosh, why are they so much further ahead of us? Or why haven't we gotten there? All these things like that. The solution to this is to really fall into the second circle, which means being present, being conscious of where you are right now. Let's talk about how we can be more second circle in these interactions and in our creative life so we can alleviate the comparison. And I know it's hard when we say like, stop comparing, because according to the law of attraction, if you say stop comparing yourself to other people, you're gonna compare yourself to other people more. So in turn, I would say focus on being more second circle. How can we focus on being more second circle in the grand scheme of our creative goals and our creative life? Let's start with our relationships. Think about if you're genuinely listening to other people. When you talk to someone, are you just trying to show them that you're listening? Do you know the cues of, yeah, I'm gonna nod my head, I'm gonna say a lot? I had a movement class in the Esper studio, and we had an entire class just based on how to listen to people and just forcing ourselves to not be like, yeah, like let's have someone talk to us and us just listen. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever tried to just listen to someone without like opening your eyes and doing the nod and smiling and yeah, of course, yeah, totally. We understand this comes from a place of you want them to feel heard. There's nothing obviously wrong with the intention of wanting someone to feel heard, but have you ever just genuinely listened to someone and just listened without moving, without showing that you're listening, but genuinely just listening? This is where I feel like true connection comes in. When you meet someone who's so grounded in themselves, they don't feel like they need to show you that they're listening. I work with our friend Mike on our music and songwriting, and it's funny because you could ask him a question and he will spend like an uncomfortable amount of time almost just listening to what you just said and trying to form a conclusion. And there won't be any like, let me think about that. You ask him a question, he's like, and there's this silence that you just sit in. But I know that whenever I say something to him, he's gonna remember it. He'll bring up things that I mentioned a year ago, and I'm like, I can't believe you remember that. It's because he's genuinely listening. So how do you do this in your relationships, in your friendships? Are you trying to show that you're listening? Are you genuinely listening without trying to show? On a larger scale, this is not specifically person to person, but are you being present in fostering your relationships and your connections? This is something that I realized within the past year. I find something very important in a friendship is just constantly checking up and making plans. I have a lot of friends in a lot of different states, so obviously it's hard to make plans sometimes with them, but I found that it's very important for me to have friends who are just checking up on me. Whenever I think of one of my friends, I'll text them and be like, happy Tuesday, and maybe we won't say anything after that, but at least that's some sort of checkup. Are you checking up on your friends? Are you scheduling things, even if it's like a call or a FaceTime or a text or a hang? Are you fostering a cute community, for lack of a better word? Are you making fun plans? Are you in the moment? Are you not being super anxious about, oh my gosh, this ticket's cost $2 and I have $2, but do I want to spend $2? Are we not sitting in that anxiety and genuinely just saying, what's gonna make our creative lives so much more fulfilling and cute? Let's go apple picking. Let's go to the Wicked movie premiere. I high-key kind of want to dress up like Glinda. My inner theater kid is just screaming and so excited for it. This is a big part of being present. Genuinely, when you think of someone, do you text them? Because I used to feel a lot of fear with that. I used to feel like, what if they feel like I'm needy? What if they feel like I'm annoying? And that might just come with time, but people who are truly second circle and present are not gonna find you annoying. They're gonna find it so sweet that you think about them. It kind of went into number 3 about having intentional connections, but another part of this too is, do you trust that people are being honest with you? I have had weird experiences with friends in the past where there's a lot of drama. They say they want to hang out with you, but then they secretly don't, and all like middle school, high school things. At this point in our lives, if other people are not acting like adults and they're talking about about us behind our back, that is none of our business and that's not our problem. And we'll start seeing that based on what they say to us about other people, and we'll be able to maybe move on from that friendship or just audit that friendship a little bit. It's important when you want to become more second circle that your friends are being more second circle too. In order to be second circle, we have to alleviate the anxiety of, am I being annoying? Do they really not want to hang out, but they're saying that they want to hang out? Like, that is all their problem. That's us not being present. If we're thinking of all of that and spending all of our time trying to understand what someone else is saying, that is probably, I don't know if that's first or third circle, but that is definitely not second circle. And we want to prioritize being second circle and bringing that energy in our creative lives. Another phase that we can introduce second circle into is learning. Did anybody else just feel like they had to go through the motions when they were in grade school and just memorize everything because that is the structure in which they made us learn, and it was just so not how we learn? Because same. And this is definitely very much not a second circle way of learning or remembering information. I am embarrassed about how little I know about history and classes that I literally felt like I had to memorize dates and memorize things, and I just never internalized it. It was a very first and third circle way of understanding things, and that is not how we want to learn things in our creative career, especially if we're spending a lot of money on college. Once I got to college, and specifically the Esper Studio, I wanted to learn everything, and I didn't want to just memorize things. Esper was a very second circle learning environment, not just because they literally taught how to be present as an actor, but it almost felt like I was learning things, and I was like, yeah, that is something that I felt in my brain and in my heart, but I could never put it into words, and now you're putting it into words. So if you are personally investing in online courses, higher education, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or just taking some college classes, think about the way in which you're learning. Are you just memorizing things, or are you genuinely saying, wait, how can I apply this in real life? Part of it might be the way that you're studying or the way that you're taking in information. Maybe certain things aren't clicking just right. Maybe you have a different way of learning and you have to go to the teacher or go ask for some extra help, and that's totally fine. That's also up to them too, that they make it an environment where you are able to put this into practice too. It's definitely a two-way street. I'm in no way saying that if there's a bad teacher, a bad course, if you have to pass the class, then you're honestly trying to play the game. You're forced to not be second circle in it, which can be really, really hard. So I totally get that. And something else about learning in second circle is that you don't necessarily have to be in an undergrad program or an online course or any sort of training. You're learning every single day when you are in your art, when you're practicing your art, when you're working amongst other people who are practicing their art, when you're collaborating. Think about the ways that you're learning from these experiences. Are you truly taking in everything? Are you seeing everything as a learning opportunity? I think the important part about this is really squeezing the juices out of every single day that you're practicing your art, understanding that it is a lesson, and asking yourself, how present am I being with this lesson right now? Because they're not gonna last forever. At some point, you're gonna be a professional, and even though we're continuing to learn, there's gonna be more and more pressure the more successful you get with it. You're gonna have more of an audience, higher stakes, and you wanna learn and make those mistakes now, being fully second circle with why those mistakes are happening, asking other people feedback, and generally just getting more and more insight over how you can use every single day as a lesson in your creative practice. Just something to think about when it comes to learning. Just be an asshole. I have my video linked right here all about how to ask for help as a creative, the best ways to ask for help, the not so good ways of asking for help, and how you can use that to your advantage without taking advantage of someone else. That's a big part of learning too. I, for some reason, have never been afraid of asking for help. I've probably asked too many questions, but it's something that you really want to get familiar with because it's a way for you to become present in your own learning. If you're not going to fully understand it and embody and be able to apply what you're doing to a profession, then we're just going through the motions and playing the game and not actually manifesting any of that. If you're really, really struggling, be an overachiever, ask a million questions, put in the reps, put in the practice. If you truly feel like you could be so close to understanding it just by doing it over and over again, then do that. When I was in college, instead of going out, there were like 2 years where I was like, yeah, let's party. And then my junior year was like, I'm exhausted. Why would anyone do this? So On Friday nights, I would go to our theater building and go into a dance room and just practice dance. I'd practice singing, I'd practice auditions in the mirror. I just practiced a million things a million times over, and I saw such a big improvement. I was going that extra mile, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think we're in a culture right now where it's cool to be like blasé, like, oh, I didn't study for that. Oh, that was so easy. And I dare you to embrace that second circle of being so present in what you're learning that you want to be excellent at it, and try really, really hard. There were definitely some people who thought I was really weird, and that's okay, because this is about being present in your creative journey. Looking forward, not with anxiety, but having strategic steps that you're placing in your career to help you genuinely hit those goals by being present. All by being present, by being focused in the moment, in tune with yourself, in tune with what you need, and giving yourself and your ability to learn as much space as possible. There's also an importance of being second circle in your home. I talk about this all the time, of having a home that sparks joy, that helps you feel that flutter in your heart where you walk around and your lifestyle is already so ritualized and romantic that yes, you want to continue hitting creative goals, but you're also super present in your journey right now, and every single day feels like its own blessing. Little ways that I would say to be second circle with your home. How do you treat the closets? Do you throw things in there? Are you just going so fast, like so third circle, your energy's generalized everywhere and you just throw things in closets, you just force the door closed and you don't even think about what's in there? Is it like super dark in the closets? You don't want to really be present with, okay, let me address this mess that I've been putting off. In order to be second circle about that, highly recommend reading Marie Kondo's 2 books, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up and Spark Joy, because those are going to help you so much become second circle with the things that you own and your home. And the closet specifically is something I struggle with a lot. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Except for when we actually need it. But we want to make sure that we're being intentional, present, second circle, even with our closets. I kid you not, when I started organizing my closet, where I go every morning to pick out my clothes and pick out my outfit, I started dressing nicer. It's a ripple effect. Another thing that Marie Kondo talks about as well is having labels out in your home. This could be a very third circle, like overwhelming, just generalized, unintentional way of having your home feel visually cluttered. So I'm talking like cereal boxes out that have the label name and the nutrition facts and all of these words. You're subconsciously, as you walk through your house, like even if you don't feel like you're reading it, you're reading nutrition label every single time you go into your kitchen, and it's clouding up your mind and it's preventing you from being present and intentional. That also goes for storage boxes that you're using every time you open the closet, where it's like sale and this and that and just all of these words and bright colors. You might not feel it in the moment, but your subconscious is absorbing that every time you look at it. If you feel like you get exhausted every time you open the closet, that might be why. And that's a really great way to reconnect to that second circle energy, is to alleviate those and bring a little more presentness and intentionality to your space. So when you open the closet, you're going in and just getting what you need, not having all of this over distractive stuff in your brain. This also goes for overall clutter. I mean, when we have clutter in our home, there is a lack of intentionality because we're not addressing certain things. It's like when you're with a friend and there's this elephant in the room, something that happened and you feel it and you're just like, are they gonna talk about it or am I gonna talk about it? That's what clutter is, and it can take you out of that second circle so much. It can just distract you, and again, it's totally subconscious, but every time you gotta walk over that pile, every time your eye glazes over that chair in your bedroom that has all of the laundry in it, it's slowly taking you out of your creative flow. The latest thing that I've done to be more second circle and present in my home is ritualizing cleaning. And I have this amazing cleaner that I've been using, Supernatural Cleaner, which I have linked in the description. And it just smells so good. The spray bottles are so high quality and nice, and it feels just so elegant to clean. And now I find myself cleaning every single week and really connecting second circle with my home. I feel like I'm looking at my wood floors and I'm like, how are you? I'm like checking in with them and just taking care of my home. Another way that we can be more second circle with our creative life is having that financial abundance. Now, I am not finance professional. This is what I'm doing. Thinking about where can consistent income come from, because there's nothing that will get you out of the present moment, out of your ability to focus on writing music or doing art, than having to think about how you're gonna get money for next month's rent. It's the worst feeling ever. I've been there, and I was not able to write music. I was not able to be creative until I was able to get consistent income. This is why I talk about your cozy girl job a lot. The cozy girl job being a remote job that does not drain your energy, that gives you consistent income, that is a close match to a skill that you already have. You're working with people who respect your boundaries, and it's consistent income, even if it's a full-time job. People are so against full-time jobs, but I'm like, listen, if you can have a full-time job for a few years, save up money and then invest that money into a course to start your creative career, or gradually having also your creative job and being able to switch to that being full-time, that is iconic. You can also check in with yourself. Is there any work that I'm doing that I'm super overqualified for? I think that that's taking you out of an energetic second circle, because you're basically being asked to do more than you should be doing. You might be taking advantage of, and because of that, you might feel overly drained. You might feel like you're super first circle in your job because you just have no energy, that you're just trying to do what you can because you're working so much, because you're not getting paid what you should be getting paid. You're being overworked, and it's just a lot. As far as this financial abundance, is the fear of change actually stopping you from taking action? I know that a lot of people are afraid of change. We all are afraid of change in a certain element, but going back to the 3 circles, if we're not in second circle, we're either thinking back to something that we did before that we're regretful of, or we're having some anxiety in the future. Fear of change can probably be one or both of those things, but it definitely means that you're not living in the second circle, and you're not actually taking the actions to help you for your future success. Do you have a savings account, or are you being present with the money that you're making, not looking too far in the future and say, oh my gosh, once I get this, I'm gonna spend it all on this new makeup, or I'm gonna spend it all on this? Are you being super conscious with your money and saying, I'm gonna put some here, I'm gonna put some here, I'm gonna put some here? There's also being second circle with your body. Things that I've started to become more aware of as I have been interacting and being friends with people who are so conscious of their body and health. Are you taking pills without knowing the root cause? I have honestly been focusing more on going to holistic doctors because they will actually help me find the root cause of something. So if I have a cough, they'll say, okay, why did you get this cough, and how can we prevent it in the future? And obviously they'll help me alleviate the cough, but it's things like that. Are we just kind of taking things to cover them up? And again, not, professional in this, so just take with this what you will, leave the rest. But in my opinion, I have to ask myself, I don't want to take things that are just covering things up and it's uncomfortable, so I'm gonna take this pill. I want to genuinely know, why am I getting sick right now? What have I been doing differently? And I'm analyzing things, and I'm super present with what's going on right now and how that connects to other things. Like, oh, am I coughing a lot? Have I been using a new shampoo and maybe I'm allergic to that, or something like that? I'm always trying to draw connections and not trying to just, act really fast and, let me just take this pill because I need to keep working. No, let me slow down and genuinely see what's going on. This also helps me feel when my body's getting sick. I know when my body's cool, I know when my body's not cool. Even this morning I was eating oats and I felt this acid reflux, and I was like, something in those oats. So I went to look at the ingredients label, and there's certain things that I'm like, oh, maybe there's too much sugar, maybe there was this, maybe I'm allergic to this. And so now I'm super aware the next time I eat it. Okay, maybe I'm allergic to this, maybe I shouldn't eat this, maybe I should eat it at a different time, maybe I should eat it with water. All of these different things that I'm thinking of. This also is very prevalent in skin, and my friend Kat, she's worked in holistic skincare, so skin is a huge part. So I'm always staying present with, if I'm breaking out in certain areas, what different thing has been happening. Your skin is your largest organ, and it's going to tell you when something's off. I found that I was resting my hand like this a lot, and I started breaking out right here. So again, instead of covering these things up, maybe considering first understanding, is this happening because it's a certain part of my cycle, because I changed my environment, because I'm in a different state, there's more stress? Just being so present with that, because your body is your temple. If you're not second circle with what's going on with your body, you're not going to be able to be second circle with meeting your creative goals. If your body is slowing you down, if your body is begging for something that you're not giving it, this is the medium in which we can create art. If we can't feed that medium, then our medium can't feed our audiences and our fans with the art that we create. Is it second circle to subscribe to a channel? I don't know. If you feel like it is, you can totally subscribe. I think it is, Only if you like it though, so. Talk to me about your thoughts about second circle. What parts of your life do you feel like you can bring more second circle energy? What parts of your art do you feel like you can bring more second circle energy? Are there any artists or creatives that you've gotten that sense of second circle? They're so grounded, so present with you that you aspire to be. Maybe you can find a few moments tonight as you reflect on the day to notice when you are being first, second, and third circle, constantly seeing how you can bring more of that beautiful, magical second circle energy into your creative lifestyle. As always, stay inspired, stay creative, and I'll see you next time.